Hello, everyone. We're here with Davedoesecom. He's an e-commerce seller. He runs a Discord group, and he sells on Amazon. So, welcome, Dave. Appreciate
Thanks
you
for having
coming
me.
here.
Yeah, thanks for the invite. Yeah.
Yeah. So, just like I think the one thing that really stands off about your Instagram page, and I see like other people just love it, is the map. And
Yeah.
you got it right behind you too, the
Right.
map.
Yeah.
What's the story behind the map?
Yeah. So when I first started, which was 2 years ago to this month, my father actually came up with the idea to get this map to sort of track my progress. So he got it for my birthday, which was in August at the time. So a few months later, and I started, and obviously when I first started, I had already sold maybe 20 total items. So it was put in the first 20 pins. I'd put in a couple a week because I was selling only a couple items a week at best. Now I'm putting in anywhere from 10 to 50 per day. And it's locations accurate, so it's really cool way that I track my progress, and it's cool to really see. So yeah.
Yeah, it's really interesting because I thought it would just be like a population map, but it really shows like certain places have just tons more orders than others for whatever reason.
Yeah, that's for
Uh,
sure.
yeah, so I just thought it was cool. I feel like that's like one of the major things. It's like I look at your page, like this just completely stands out. Also, you're super young and you're starting to get so you're selling on Amazon. You're doing pretty well. What got you into Amazon?
So the way I started was even from like a young age, I've always sort of had a business mindset, entrepreneur mindset. But my uncle, who is he's on social media now. He goes by Side Hustle Chris. Um, he actually started selling on both Amazon and eBay a couple like years ago, maybe 5 years ago. And he would tell me like, hey, I sold this and I bought it for this. Like, it was just crazy to me. And I was probably 14, 15 at the time. So I was like, I got to try this. So he told me, how to do it. And he's like mentored me the whole way through. And it's really, that's sort of how I got into it. It's because of him, my uncle.
That's awesome. That's great. It's family business, just keeping it going. That's amazing. Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's absolutely awesome. So with social media, why are you on social media? I know some like there's the we're a very me and you, we both do Amazon and we're on social media. But most people they either like do Amazon and they're not on social media, or like it's really crazy to think about sometimes that there's like hundreds of millions of Amazon sellers and there's all these people selling on Amazon, but there's only a very small portion that also do social media. Why did you decide to get into social media?
Well, I mean, before I started like business stuff, I was a gamer and I was on social media for that, and I saw all the advantages to that. So it took me a bit to get on social media for business because I didn't really know that there was a market for it or that people were doing it. I never, thought about it, but one day I came across my, like scrolling on TikTok, I believe, and I think it was Miles or Warner, one of the two, and I saw and I went on their Instagram, and then it was like a rabbit hole from there. I dove in, I saw there's tons of people, so I figured why not try it myself. So I got on, and it's been great ever since, simply for networking. That's just the best part about it. That I use especially too.
See, that's one of the major components. Like I did Amazon for a little bit without being on social media, and then after social media, it really feels like it just completely grows your business like you wouldn't imagine. Is that what you experienced, or?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. When I first got on social media, I was only doing a couple thousand a month, and I definitely credit a portion of it to being on social media and talking to other people and learning things from other people who are on social media. And then, of course, now I found my little group that we all chat and we source together and we grow together, which is really cool. And that wouldn't happen without social media. So
Dave's downplaying it. He's got a pretty big group. I would say it's a pretty big group. Like you look at all the other kind of cook groups and different things of that nature. Like basically just buying and selling groups. Like, bro, I'm like, man, he grew this entire group in such a small period of time. Do you want to talk about that at all and like how you grew it?
Yeah. So again, coming from the gaming background, Discord was big with gaming, and I had grown and used Discord for years now. So I figured this was a good opportunity to create sort of a community for myself and for others to just network in, ask questions, learn together. So I started it. It's called Resellers Avenue. It's got over 1,200 people in there now, which is just crazy to me too. It grew really fast, mainly due to Twitter. I like Twitter the most out of all social medias, and I think people interact the most on Twitter. So just slow promoting it, and because it's free, like no one is gonna say no. So
yeah.
I think that's definitely a reason, is that it's not charged. It's free. So
yeah, that's definitely. It's like, what do you? It's completely free. What do they have to lose, right?
Exactly.
I just I've also just started to like market and different things like that. I'm like, your tweets are just so good because everybody wants leads. You'll post like a thing where it's like, hey, like you want this lead, like and retweet, and then everybody just comes funneling in.
Yeah.
I think that's super smart. So
yeah. And a lot of people, that out there. Yeah, with those, that was another really big way I grew the Discord too, because obviously I throw in a little, hey, link, join, we got more for these, the leads. And with those, people like them and don't like them for the simple fact of like, oh, if you don't limit it, they're going to tank. But the reason I do it is to show people what a good lead looks like, I guess. And to show, because especially for new sellers, it's usually new sellers who are like, wanting the free lead. I'm not necessarily saying to just go buy it, but to look at it. And a lot of the times it's a website you've never been to. So you can, expand that way. But again, that's like another thing that I used to grow the Discord, was just like giving away the free leads. And then I would say, hey, join this. We got more. If you have questions, ask them here.
Yeah, I think that's amazing. Like, I really like the concept, and I know you're like, oh, they get the free lead, everybody's gonna hop on and not make money. I feel like that's not the point of the lead. The point of the lead's like, I never knew you could buy stuff from, say, like Vitacost, or say even one of the more obscure sites, right? So I really like the concept of the free lead, and especially if you went through it too, right? We're both sellers. You'll go, you try to find leads, and you don't find anything for a while. You get that free lead, and then maybe right now it's not profitable, but you look at all the other people on the listing, then you can find some really good stuff, right?
Exactly right.
Yeah, for sure. So kind of, where do you see yourself going with the Discord group? And like, you've done so many things already. You got the Discord group, the Twitter's popping, right? Going absolute nuts on the Twitter, right? What do you think is going to be your next thing? Do you want to scale your Amazon business? Do you want to like?
I mean, overall, I want to scale everything, but right now I'm definitely focusing more on the Amazon business. I definitely want to this is already going to be on pace for my best year. So that's already good news. But yeah, I really just want to scale that at the moment. And then, once I'm at a place where I'm like comfortable and consistent, that's the big thing right now, is consistency. Then I'll definitely focus a lot more on the community aspect, which, sort of does its own thing as well, where if I'm just posting, people will join it anyway. So I'm not really promoting it heavily as much anymore, but it's still something I would love to grow for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. So one other thing is, so I know when you start reselling, I know you got into it with your family, but when you start reselling, you have all these other, like, I can't imagine. Are you still in school, or?
Yeah, I'm going to a community college just because.
Oh, okay. So you just started college.
Yep.
Yeah, like in school, where people ever like, what is this guy doing? Like,
yeah, it was always people asking questions, and then of course when I got on social media and I would start posting, those orange bars, everybody lights up. People would see them from school. I never like talked about it in school, but people took notice, and I would get a DM like, "Bro, teach me."
Exactly. It always goes from, what is he doing? Like, just get a job, to, bro, you gotta show me this. Yeah. It's never in between like the people you've seen in the past. Is that kind of?
Yeah, it's funny, and I'm always happy to help, especially if I knew them in person. I'm always happy to sort of guide them in the right direction. But I can't just I can't help everybody. I could try and help as many people as I can and give away as much, knowledge as I can, but it takes a lot of time to do that too. So I gotta focus on getting to where I want to be first,
I know everybody wants your time. They're like, Dave, you got to teach me, but like you also got to grow yourself, right?
That's right. That's exactly right.
I've definitely experienced, like, I love helping other people too, but it's like, man, like sometimes you really just got to be like, I have to work on the business because that's what's really moving it forward.
Yeah.
And another thing too that I thought was really cool, I didn't even know it existed. You have that mailbox. Like, I don't even know where you get one of those.
Yeah, so that was a gift my parents got me because they were sick of me trying to shove all the packages in there and them not fitting. So I think they got it at Lowe's, if I'm not mistaken, and it's a parcel mailbox, so it's meant for packages, and it's big. I fit a lot in there. In the first picture I posted of it, I fit 4 Stanleys in there on top of another few things, and it's a big mailbox.
Yeah,
it's definitely the biggest one on our street.
Yeah, that's the real deal there. That's awesome that you live in a neighborhood where the HOA isn't like super strict about the mailboxes. For me, that like I would love to do that, but the HOA is just way too strict. If other people didn't understand what we're talking about, if you guys go on Dave's page, he has this mailbox, and it's just it is massive. It's like 4 mailboxes put together, pretty much.
Yeah.
That's really awesome that you have that, because it's like, man, like sometimes you have like maybe 2 or 3 priority ones that you don't want to go to the post office for, that you're just trying to shove in a little tiny mailbox, but with the big one, I can imagine it just really helps.
Oh yeah, it's a big help.
Saves a few trips. So so let's talk about Amazon a little bit more. What's kind of been your experience, and what do you think new beginners, their most common problems are, and like how did you overcome you're a new seller on Amazon and you can't find any products to sell, because that's where most people are at.
I mean, definitely learning like different sourcing methods, not just sticking to one method, to see what works best for you. Some people storefront stocking is the way to go. Some people manual, some people reverse. For me personally, I enjoy manual sourcing. That's what I find best, but I know plenty of people who struggle with manual. So I think it's best to try and diversify what your sourcing methods are, and I think that'll increase your odds at starting and finding success earlier on, especially like when you're first starting out. You got to learn that stuff. And then a key thing for me is definitely learning the software and literally knowing everything there is to know about it. That will help you so much. I know, like when I first started, I was like, oh, I just need to know, the pink line is the price. Like that's really all I cared about. But there's a lot more to it. So I think those are the 2 things: learning different sourcing methods and then knowing your software front and back is definitely the best 2 things you can do to help expedite your process when starting.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I'm sure you had countless nights of like, you're just looking for products, things like that. Just the beginner barrier for like we've all went through it, right? You look at the computer for 2 hours, 3 hours, you didn't find anything, but then you eventually get a lot better. I bet sourcing now for you is pretty easy.
Yeah, easy. I wouldn't say it's still not time consuming.
Yeah,
it's definitely a lot easier, and I know what I'm doing now.
Yeah. And then you have that great network too, so even if you didn't find something, like your buddy's gonna slide something your way.
You bet. We hop on sourcing calls multiple times a week, and we'll all source together. And then once we find something, the more eyes you get on a product, the more you're gonna find and get to know it's a decent.
Yeah. Another thing too about like your kind of I would call it like you have a Discord group and all of the other things, but I would say more of like an inner circle. Like you have a group of like 4 or 5 guys that you source with. Is that what you're doing? Or
I have there's 5 of us in there, and we all source, like I said, a few times a week. There's pretty much calls 7 days a week from whoever can make it, and we'll source together, and then we'll buy together too, and we'll split buy box. We'll say here we're not going below that, we're not going above that, and it's worked out really well so far. Since I've been doing that for only a couple months now, I've seen crazy growth within my sales. So I definitely recommend finding your little group, usually people who are around the same level when it comes to sales and like experience, because then you could all grow together, and that's what's really helped me, and I think it'll help the majority of people. It would help for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I can't stress enough about like that inner circle being so important. Like the accountability. I think it's wild to see, and you've been selling on Amazon for a good bit now, but it's like the amount of people that just leave from the Amazon space. Like they'll go in, they'll be here for 6 months, and those people are just gone. Like they're just gone. But when you have that internal group, it really it really keeps you motivated and keeps you, okay, I got to keep on sourcing new products, got to keep on selling new products. Love it.
Yeah.
Is there anything like you want to tell the people, like any, really just any tips, any, kind of last notes to go off on?
Yeah, I mean, kind of repeating what I said before, definitely learn your software. And then, like we were just talking about, I can't stress enough how important it is to get on social media and start talking to people. That is like so important. I wish I would have done it sooner. I would have been miles ahead of where I am now if I would have started right when I started my business. It took me months before I got on social media, and I regret that. I regret that. So I wish I would have started sooner. Everybody says that, but if you're going to start, document your whole journey, talk to people, and that will help you grow. This community is so good about helping new sellers. Everybody's willing to help. Everybody will help you. Just ask any question you want. People will answer it. So we're friendly. We don't bite. So
yeah, exactly. Like this community is so, you gamed before, like there's some like very toxic gaming community, and then here it's like everybody just wants to win.
It's true.
We're all here to win. So
yeah.
Definitely make sure you go and follow Davedoesecom's page. I'm going to link everything down in the description. Join his Discord, follow his page, comment on the post, see how the map's doing. Thank you for spending the time today. Really appreciate it, Dave.
Of course. Thanks for having me again.
Yep, sure.